Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Cibola Born, which is book 4 in the Expanse series by James S. A. Corey. If you want to see my review on the first 3 books, then the link is at the top of the screen. So, colony ships have been traveling through the wormhole and colonizing the new planets. And we meet 3 new characters. We meet Basia, whose son was kidnapped and killed in book 2, because he was taking part in that human protomolecule hybrid experiments. And Basia was one of the kids' dad. We saw Basia briefly in book 2, but now he gets more fleshed out. And now he's one of the first colonists on Illis or New Terra. They don't really agree on what to call the planet. It depends who you ask. Well, his ship is called the Edward Israel, and it's there for a mining operation. And there was a shuttle that was sent from the Edward Israel, but it crashes on the planet. And we meet Elvie, who's an exobiologist who was sent in the shuttle that crashed. And we meet Havelock, who was Miller's old partner in book 1. And he's now working on the security force on the Edward Israel. And the Rocinante has been taking jobs escorting ships through the wormhole. And we see Avasarala again, and she tells the Rocinante to mediate the situation on Nuntera because there's a lot of conflicts. And we also get interludes from the investigator's perspective, also known as Miller's Ghost. And we see how he first viewed emotions in human history. Though I liked the first one, I felt like having 6 of these interludes was a bit much. It was way too repetitive. It reaches out, it reaches out. It kind of got old, you know? So anyway, both the captain of the Baba Piccola and the captain of the Edward Israel demand Holden to force the other side to concede. Because he's supposed to be mediator, but both sides want him to take their side. And Holden's still seeing Miller's ghost because the protomolecule put something on his ship during the Ganymede incident. We saw Miller's ghost in book 3 and book 4. So the leader of the OPA resistance tells Bassa that the RCE found the explosives, and they gonna set off the explosives, or they're gonna be traced back to them. And they lie and say that they just said that so Bassi could come with them. It was a ruse. And then they have a massive battle, and they kill all the RCE guards that were there. So we meet this psychotic asshole named Chief Moji, who leads the RCE security on Edward Israel. And he takes a shuttle down to stop the rebels, and he leaves Havelock in charge of the security. So Holden and Amos land on New Terra, and nobody likes them. And Alex and Naomi were supposed to go, but they can't because they can't handle the gravity because they're belters. So they head back into orbit and just kind of watch the ship. So Holden and Amos walk the town square, and they see a Western-style shooting match between Carol Tariri and Moultrie. And they both want Holden to take their side, but, you know, many times in the book, Holden is being pressured to take a side, but he wants to stay neutral. And he does that through, I'd say, the first 75% of the book. So Moultrie shoots Carol in the eye, and he declares martial law. And Holden doesn't like this. He wants to prosecute Moultrie for murder. But Amos points out that Moultrie loves to kill people. He gets off on it. He's like an addict to killing people. I don't know. He loves it. And Amos tells him he has to kill Moultrie before he goes too far. So meanwhile, Basia convinces the other rebels that they need Holden to team up with them. Basia then he goes to find Holden. Since Holden helped them find the son back in book 2, Basia kind of trusts him. So Elvie meets with Holden, and she has like a schoolgirl crush on him. She's like, I don't know, she's just kind of into him, but like it's kind of annoying. It's why I don't really like her character that much. She kind of acts like a child. Anyways, Elvie tells Holden that the planet's virus could easily hurt the humans because they haven't built up the antiviruses because it's an alien planet. And then later, Holden has a meeting between Moultrie and Suriri, and he wants them to make laws on New Terra. And they agree to compromise where the LPA could set up an ore mine to the Baba Piccola and have to sign out the mining explosives that the RCE had. So Miller's ghost appeals to Holden and tells him that the previous societies of Ilias/New Terra remodeled the whole planet, and they made a strong defense system, but they were still killed by the aliens who made the protomolecule. So, their efforts were in vain. So Holden meets Basia, and Basia tells him that they can't make him leave, and Holden could tell that he's a rebel. Meanwhile, Havelock tells Moultrie that he turned their shuttle into a fusion bomb. Moultrie wants Havelock to train the scientists and turn them into a militia. And Holden and Elvie find a security drone from the ring station. It's been damaged, so it consumes the fungus from the ground to repair itself. They shoot it and burn it so it doesn't get resurrected. So Basia goes to an LPA meeting, and the OPA plans to kill all the security forces and also kill Holden. And Basia doesn't want to do this because he likes Holden. They got along, so he leaves. And meanwhile, Basia's daughter wants to leave Illis to attend college, and Basia is against this because he's worried about her. But he realizes that she'll be happier and safer if she does leave, so he says goodbye. I like that chapter of the book because it gives Basia more of a layered personality. It gives him humanity and a goal of giving his family a better life, so it makes him more likable. So Basia tells Holden the OPA wants to kill him. Holden doesn't care because they want to leave the planet anyway. Holden meets with Moultrie and Chiriri and tells them that they're leaving, but neither of them agree. Holden threatens to shoot Moultrie, but Moultrie orders his team to attack, and they kill everyone inside of a nearby house that Moultrie thinks are terrorists. So Moultrie places Basia under arrest for aiding the said terrorists, but Holden takes custody of him and keeps him prisoner on the Rosie. Naomi and Alex pretty much hold Basia prisoner, but they're very nice to him, and they give him free reign to walk around the ship, because Basia saved Holden earlier, so they trust him. So Naomi finds out about this bomb on the Edward Israel, and she wants to attach a remote cut off on its engine. But when she's doing this, Havelock notices Naomi on the ship, and they kidnap her, and they hold her as prisoner. So meanwhile, Holden sees Miller's ghost, and it tells Holden that the protomolecule has been activating the robots on the planet, but he wants Holden to find an empty spot in the global network. Holden says he'll deal with this later because his first priority is saving Naomi. And Alex tells Holden that there was a large eruption and it created shockwaves, and that Holden has only 6 hours before the shockwaves hit. And they can't use the Wilsonante because it'll take too long, so they go to the alien ruins. And this storm goes on for 16 hours straight, and after that it's very muddy. There's slimy slugs that kill people when you touch them, and everybody has to block the access points so that the slugs don't kill them. This reminds me a bit of The Green Death, which is a Doctor Who episode from the 70s. I don't know, it was just like they were like trapped in a cave, and they were giant toxic slugs. I don't know, it's a very obscure reference, but it kind of reminded me of that. So Holden tells Moultrie that they all need to get off the planet, and Moultrie agrees, but he wants to come back later, but to mine the resources. And Holden sees Miller's ghost, and he tells them that they should send airdrops of supplies, since the defense system on the planet would attack them. So Havelock sends supplies that way, and it works. They all get food and water and everything. So there's these organisms that live in the clouds, and they infect everybody with rain, and everybody goes blind except for Holden because of his anti-cancer meds. So Holden gets mad at Moultrie, and they fight, but Holden doesn't kill him. And I've noticed that Moultrie and Holden fight like 50 times in this book. So eventually, Elvie's able to use Holden's anti-cancer meds to cure everybody's blindness, which is good. And Basia attaches tethers to the Barba Piccola so the Wolsey coil tow it into a more stable orbit. Naomi and Basia are able to patch up the holes in the ship, but they're going to have to lose the bulb and let it get destroyed, so they have to evacuate people from the bulb to go to the Wilsonante, but they try to use a railgun as a thruster, and they stop the bulb's orbit from decaying, but the Edward Israel attacks the Wilsonante. Meanwhile, on New Terra, Moultrie is chasing Holden in a car, while Amos and Elvie follow Moultrie in a second car. Holden eventually passes out because of the heat, and he sees Miller's ghost again, and the ghost takes control of this like giant alien machine and uses it to clear the wrecking blocking the track so that Holden could use his car again. So Holden and Miller's ghost reach the destination, and Miller's ghost explains that the planet has raw materials. They're like like non-renewable materials we use on Earth, like coal and other stuff that are very valuable. So Basia saves Havelock, but the tether is damaged by a missile, so Havelock and Basia head towards the Baba Piccola. Elvi and Amos find Holden, but mostly shoots Amos in the back because he sucks. And he doesn't kill him, but he blows a few of his fingers off because Moultrie's an asshole. And this sounds very painful. So Amos then shoots Moultrie in the chest, but Moultrie's wearing like a bulletproof armor, so he's fine. So everything's fine. And eventually, everyone is able to go from the Baba Piccola to the Rossi by attaching inflatable air ducts together. In my mind, this reminded me of that scene from Adventure Time when Cinnamon Bun is walking down through a hallway in the sky and the marshmallows keep saying, "Can I hold that for you, sir?" Okay. So the chief engineer of the Edward Israel starts yelling at the captain for helping the enemy, but Alex shoots him, and nobody really cares, so the problem's over. Everyone's able to escape in time before the Baba Piccola explodes, and Basia realizes that the people on the Edward Israel were killed when he bombed the RCE shuttle, so he has like a nervous, guilty breakdown. Elvi is running through the complex, and she finds Holden in the alien machine, which is being controlled by Miller's ghost. And Elvi tells him that she thinks Amos is dead. Holden goes after Moultrie, while Elvi and Miller's ghost go into the machine and deactivate the mechanism that disabled the fusion reactors. While they're doing this, actually Elvi sees a vortex, and she describes it as the eye of an angry god. And Miller can't see this. I'm wondering how come. Is this because it's in Elvi's imagination, or is it because Miller's technology can't sense it? Or is it more of a metaphor? So, Holden and Moultrie have yet another standoff. Moultrie is so interested in learning about the alien technology, he doesn't care if people die. And while they do a Wild West standoff, Holden just kind of doesn't play by the rules of that, and he shoots him like multiple times. But he saves him, so his friends back home could humiliate him. I like Holden. So Miller activates all the equipment and restores power to the Edward Israel and the Rocinante. And the aliens don't like this, so they chase Elvi and Miller's ghost. Miller is damaged by this, and he dies, but Elvi is able to hide behind like a black hole or something, and she falls through to the other side of it, and that's like the last we hear from her. What happened to her? Did she survive this? Unclear. Maybe we'll find out in like the next book. So Miller's consciousness then becomes the whole planet. He's like the planet now. So half the people stay on Illis, and half of them go home with the Edward Israel and the Rocinante. Back home, Havelock is portrayed as a hero because he saved everybody. And everyone on Illis now is getting on well, and now that asshole Moultrie is out of the picture. So Basia decides to stay on this planet and be with his family while Holden leaves to go on new adventures. And then we get an epilogue told from Avasarala's point of view. This is very good because she was solely missed from Abaddon's Gate. And it's just a little couple pages, and she meets with Bobby, also missed from Abaddon's Gate. And she says that the people of Mars are going to leave the planet to go to the New Worlds. So here's some observations I had. There's a lot of political bullshit in the first half. It was a bit boring, but the second half was a lot more enjoyable once the plot started moving. While I liked Havelock and Basia, I thought Elvi was a bit annoying in the beginning because of old childlike Chris and Holden. It kind of seemed out of place. But after she told him this and they moved past it and she got like a new boyfriend, she became more likable. With each novel having 3 new characters, along with Holden, and these characters don't really return as POVs in the next novel, it's kind of hard to get attached to any of them. Because, we haven't seen Anna or, any of the other POVs. And it just means I can't, get attached to them because I know that they're not going to come back, at least for a couple novels. Now, I'm hoping that in the next book, we see chapters from Alex or Amos or Naomi's point of view, because they're all interesting characters, but we've only seen them through the eyes of other characters. I kind of want to see how they view the world and how they think. So this was a pretty good novel, though I have a little bit problems with it that I addressed, but and otherwise, it was pretty good. It's a little. These books are a little formulaic at this point, and I'm kind of hoping something comes along and spices things up. But as for now, I'm still enjoying it. So I'm gonna give this a B. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Cibola, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.